Good evening, people. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be, whatever island you're watching this game from, this stream from, I should say. Mention, see how I put island in there. You're right, people. You're right. Love Island is a disgrace. Tell the guy. Tell him.
Don't try and
Tell
spin
him.
it. Don't try and spin it. Nah, that can't happen.
Listen, people. Listen. Don't even try that. Don't even try that on me. People know I am definitely not a Love Island guy. People know. People know it's you, man. 100%. You know what I mean?
It's one of them, innit? Like I knew you was a family man. I knew you was a football man. I just didn't know you was a Love Island man.
Look at you trying.
But now I do. It's cool, man. It's cool.
Okay. Listen, I don't even need to. Why am I falling for this shit? Why am I falling for this? Why am I rising to the bait? I've bit too many times this week, man. I mean, I don't need to bite, man. But people, yeah, man. Listen, this is what I'm talking about. Get the likes up if you hate Love Island. You know what I mean? That should work on the likes at least, anyway. You know what I mean? But people, as you come in, you know the drill. You know the drill. We're going to be talking about the game. We're going to be talking about the surrounding talking points. Couple of injuries, not going to lie, it's dampened my spirits. We'll talk about
injuries, to be honest, as well. I wanted to see what the permutations of they could possibly be over the next couple of weeks, more than the game as well.
No, 100%. And those kind of things are probably more important than the game anyway.
Exactly.
We've discussed this because the whole purpose of preseason is not the games per se, but the conditioning, the no injuries, coming through unscathed, team morale, all of that cliched business, but it's facts. Are we going to give a fuck about losing the what was the first cup, the Malaysian Centennial Trophy, or winning the Singapore Standard Chartered Trophy? That's banter. That's joke. We're not going to give a shit about it. What we're going to have an effect on us for the rest of the season is possibly Alisson not making the start, or Jota definitely not making the start. So we'll get into all that, people. As I said, as you're getting in, as you're getting into the stream, like the stream. Oh man, Sunday Night Love Island episode is about to go down. So that means people are already basically hinting to me that I got to make the Red Fellas show after Love Island on a Sunday. Is that how it works? Okay, no problem. We'll sort that out. Yeah, Ben, I know you probably singing this shit. Champions of Singapore, you'll never sing that. You know, people probably singing that, you know, but why not, man? It's a trophy.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Always big up Ben. Always big up Ben. But yeah, look. After the defeat, which stung because it was Man United, but didn't give a shit about the result otherwise, but only because it was Man United. Even though I've given you all the chat about it doesn't matter, it is what it is. Fitness, glorified, televised, monetized, open training session, right? That's the way I look at these games. This morning when I woke up to do a watch along, and I say woke up because that's what time I wake up, 1 o'clock, 1:30. Anyway, that's another story. Errol, there was a part of me that thought, yeah, all of that, but I want to see a couple of goals and I want to see a win. How did you feel?
No, do you know what? I get what you're saying, but I'm not that ass. Like I didn't take it personal that like Man U, it didn't hurt, it didn't sting. It was, for me, as I said to you on the show the other night afterwards, it was a sign of where us as clubs are right now. The fact that they had to go as full strength as they did to obviously try and find out how those players can play and if they can gel and do the instructions that Ten Hag set out for them was quite telling. That he didn't have faith in just going with a younger, fresher, maybe more fit squad for the lads that want to prove something, to say, you know, let me work my way into your fort, where Klopp was the complete opposite. And I was quite glad that Klopp was. He doesn't take them serious. It shows how much of a threat he feels they are. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can put out your strongest team. I'm still going to play the kids. It's not going to change my mindset. So when you look at it, those players, or, you know, we can banter Man U all we want, but those players should have been beaten 2 out of the 3 teams that we put out. The only thing that probably stung the most was when we had a bit of a full strength team. He was still able to find a way through us. But again, pre-season, that can happen. It's early doors. So when it was today's game, I had almost forgot. I knew he was playing, but I wasn't sure if it was tomorrow or it was today. And then obviously the timeline starts to go a little bit crazy. Everybody's talking about lineups. There was a couple of spaces that I tuned into earlier on Twitter. And yeah, from there I was like, right, that's where I agree. Now I want to see what we can do. I want to see us be a little bit more fluid. I want to see a stronger side of us going out. Now we've got a game for belts.
Now you're spot on. People in the chat, just let me confirm with me, is the chat on slow mode? Sometimes I forget. So let me know. T Justice, who joined me in the watch along earlier, big up yourself. He says, great watch along earlier, bro. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. I might start making that a regular thing. Amazing support. Big up all of you lot that were with me in the chat. Yeah, man, that's the only bad downside of today's 2-0 win, man. Om's got the prediction right. Omar's gonna be fucking in my head all week, man. Like the little twat's gonna do my head in. He's got the prediction right. It's like he's
class, him. He's class.
Yeah, he's absolutely class, but do you know what I mean?
You need to get time to follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, 100%. We start with the lineup then, as you said, Errol. Obviously, we know about the Alisson gonna miss out. A slight knock. Luckily, thankfully, Jurgen Klopp has talked about it being precautionary rather than sort of anything major. We saw the partnership of Konate, Matip, Tsimikas, and then young James Milner at right back. You see,
rolling back the years, bro.
No. We're gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk. I want to dedicate a good section of the show to him. Henderson at the base, joined with the young bucks alongside him, Elliott and Jones, and then Luis Diaz, Bobby, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, who played on the wide right, as opposed to Elliott, who played that role in the first game. They didn't swap roles, but because Ox didn't play in that same team, but you know what I mean. Ox plays on that wide right. What do you think about that lineup?
I was happy with it. The first thing that jumped out at me was that it was the midfield three. And one thing that I kind of thought from last season, and again, until I've seen enough examples of, I won't be kind of sold either way. But I'm not 100% convinced at this point that Elliott and Jones are the midfield partnership either side as the 2 8s on the left and right side kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, people were saying to me, it depends on the type of game. If you're going to have a lot of the ball, they're both very good technical players, and I get that. But I just think it just leaves us being a little bit lightweight. And when you're going to go into the Premier League, we know the level of physicality that's in that Premier League. We know that you can get overrun, and that was where we didn't necessarily have the most control in a couple of games where we dropped points last season. So don't get me wrong, I don't expect to see that week in, week out in the Premier League, but it was interesting to see that Klopp is going to be confident enough to give them a chance to prove that they can do something. And within the game themselves, they did kind of work together and they did pop up and create a few opportunities. So it was just interesting for me. I think obviously when you're looking at Konate and Matip, you kind of just want them to kind of build on the partnership, because usually it's one of them in and one out because they're going to be alongside Virgil. But if we do need to have game management and we need to rest legs or whatever it is, it's good that they start to form a bit of a partnership with each other as well, because I think Konate's just hit the ground running in pre-season as well. He looks really good. He looks strong. Yeah, I mean, man's a man mountain. He's a young lad, but he's a man mountain. Do you get me? So he looks on it. And then obviously, you've got the veteran, the young whipping boy there in James Milner, rolling back the clock. So it was interesting to see. It was still quite strong as a lineup. But you kind of just got to see what you can do when you actually get on the pitch and if it'll gel well enough.
If you want to speak about Konate, by all means start, because I'm ready to start on him. Because they started off with, I know there was a lot of chat about they've got a lot of players missing, but up front they had Edouard, Mateta, and Jordan Ayew, which is pretty much, 3 of the 4 attacker strikers. Like they normally have Zaha floating around there as well. Mateta's a big beast as well. He was a handful for us in the game at their ground. I remember I was at that game. He caused Virgil, and who was alongside Virgil that day? Oh, my mind's gone blank. I think it was Matip. I'm not sure. I think it was Matip. Gave us quite a game. Errol, today, Ibu Konate carried on where he left off from last season.
He looks like he's gone a little bit quicker as well, if I'm honest.
He looks a bit
leaner.
Leaner, that's the word.
Yeah, he looks lean. He looks in really good physical condition at the minute. And that was never a question last season at any point in time. but he looks on it. And then in today's performance, as you said, with a physical striker up top for them, he didn't give them a sniff. He was all over them. He's physical. He's combative. He's, but the things that we needed from him was, again, you can be lean and you can be bulky, but are you going to have that recovery pace if needed? It looks like he's getting faster. And then again, that reading of the game now, we know that there was a few moments, and there wasn't many. You are literally nitpicking when I say there was a few moments last season where he just didn't have the best game due to the fact that he read a couple of situations wrong. But I know the more he kind of gets that minutes under his belt as the preseason goes on, those will be the elements I reckon Klopp will try and work on with him, especially. And I just thought today he just, as you said, just picked up where he left off from last season. Yeah,
you're spot on. Look, people talk about his positional play and sometimes not being in the right position, and therefore sometimes he tends to panic. Do you remember the clearance against Benfica, where Nunez actually scores? Little things like that. The header against, we mistimes the header and they score at Anfield. In the first minute they score something. First couple of minutes, the first header where he's
replacing Wolves. Was it Wolves? Wolves, yeah. No, I remember.
So it's one of those ones that they're normal, isn't it? He's a young centre back. He's going to learn these.
All the attributes, every single attribute is there. It's just, and there'll be ones that he excels above anyway. Naturally, just be given his physicality and his stature in the game. It's just the other elements where you're like, right, if you can iron these out of your game in the next 2 seasons, you're going to break yourself into that world-class bracket before you're even 24, before you're 25, 26.
Do you know what it is? I get you. I'm with you. I know what you're saying. But I think for his level, for his age, where he's at, I think he's ahead of the game, Errol. I genuinely think he's ahead of the game. He's got so much to learn, of course. But when you compare it to other centre-backs of his age around the world, I genuinely think that he's above everyone else in the pecking order in terms of he's so far ahead. And I think
no major injuries, and he's got a major ceiling. He's got such a high ceiling. Remember when everyone was saying, we got the wrong one from Leipzig, and it should have been Upamecano, and what did he do last season? He didn't have the best season anyway for his debut in the end, really. Not saying that he won't eventually get to the level where he was predicted to, but Konate's been the one that's kind of been, he's a thoroughbred, isn't he?
There's a question to be asked already, man. I'm going to put it to you, and people let us know in the chat as well the answer to this.
Don't, because
I have to.
I know what you're going to ask me.
I know I have to. You're going to ask me. I have to. I have to. You know where I'm going with this. This is what I mean. This is what you call being on the same wavelength, people. Me and Errol, I didn't even go anywhere. I didn't even say anything. He knew where I was going with this. You have to choose, man, and let us know in the chat if what you, because it's a question. It's a valid question, brother. It's not one of those the answer's right or wrong. There's no clear-cut answer. There's no right and wrong answer. It is just an opinion, or maybe, I don't know.
Well, I'll give you my answer then, right? For this season, provided Joel...
Forget season. Okay, let's cut it down. Fulham. Forget even season. Fulham. I'm not even going to count the Charity Shield.
I know. Oh,
first game.
You've stuck it on me.
People, if you worked out the question, well, give me the answer. What do you guys think?
I'm backing Matip, and again, I just because I rate Matip while he's fit, he brings that one element that Ibu can't bring right now, and that's his ball playing ability out from the back. And I think there are times when we have so much of the ball, we need that additional option. And as good as Konate is from a defensive standpoint, Matip just offers something else, something extra. And while he's fit, I'd play him. While he's at that age, I'd use his body before using Konate's body for a long period. And I think Jürgen is going to go with the centre-backs that start between Fulham, the Fulham game. That'll be a centre-back partnership for the Premier League for the majority of the games, providing illness, fitness, and availability. That'll be what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, look, as I said, there's no right and wrong answer in this, because I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is having the same sleepless nights that we almost had, having panic attacks when you knew I'm going to ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Look, Steve agrees with you. He says 100% agree. Matic was trying that today. Look, El Drago, big up El Drago in the chat as well. He says Ibu to manhandle Mitrovic.
Yeah.
Nani agrees with you. Nani, I beg your pardon. Sorry. Matip is better against low blocks with his creativity, but against top teams, Ubu because of his pace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kanate. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. Kanate can carry the ball. Big up selection as well.
We're comfortable with whoever. If you told me it's Kanate, I'm all day. If you tell me it's Matip, I'm all day. Do you know what I mean? Because I know as that chap broke it down there about saying low blocks Matip, Kanate for your top 6 teams. I think that's a perfect blend. I genuinely, because they're the levels you want him to be coming in at with the Champions League. And as he gets older in his career anyway, you don't really want to be having him cut his teeth against the Fulhams of the league. And
I hear you.
So I'm more than comfortable with that kind of dynamic as the season goes on. So there's no right answer for me. They're both quality.
Nah, I'm with you. Game starts. Straight away you can see the temperature, the tempo. You can probably see the temperature as well. You can see the sweat running off their forehead, so you can probably see the temperature. But you can definitely see the tempo of the pressing. Even from Palace, you know that Palace were quite up for this. There were a few tasty challenges, man. People that know about the watch along know that I was pissed off with that number 55, the blonde dude for Palace, man. Was he a new signing or something? He was proper giving it the rough tactics, man. I wasn't very happy with him, but we started off nice. Big up Dan Potts in the building. Big up you both. Smash the likes, people.
Yes.
Matic for me, criminally underrated.
Dan knows. Dan's on it.
No one's gonna deny that. No, oh yeah. We called him the Palace McTominay. One guy, man, in the chat doing my head in, man. Not in the chat, in the game. He kept hacking us down. But Milner got him nicely. I want to touch upon Milner. The game starts. Look, and Harvey Elliott. Okay, we start with Harvey Elliott looking lively again. I was very interested to see Harvey Elliott and Jones, just like you was, and we know Jurgen Klopp has spoken about them in the last couple of weeks, and spoken about them, how much he trusts them, how much faith he's got in them. So Jurgen Klopp's put his faith in these kids. They now got to repay that faith. 100%. And I don't mean that, in a fucking 30 minutes of or 45 minutes of a preseason friendly in Bangkok and Singapore, whatnot. But you need to show me something. Show me something so we can build up a bit of momentum, and therefore there's a decision to be made come first game against Fulham or the Charity Shield even, where we're debating, like me and you were debating about Matip and Konate. Give Jurgen Klopp the confidence and a headache.
Yeah.
I thought Elliott gave him a headache. I'll start with Elliott.
What I love about this kid as well, Grizz, is the fact that obviously he's not from Liverpool, but he was a Liverpool fan growing up. I love the fact that not only does he want to prove a point to Jurgen on the pitch, but it's to the fans as well. We're so used to buying on the international market for your star talent, and there's always that criticism leveled at them that you get so good, and after a certain point in time, someone else will come knocking on the door and the heads get turned, and you haven't got that loyalty to the club. Why? It's just a job. And you kind of get it, but you're like, because we're fans, we want a player to literally leave nothing in the tank when they're putting themselves on the pitch for us. And Harvey embodies that, bro, and he embodies it in such a way that it's like, not only am I going to give Jurgen Klopp a headache, I'm going to give these fans a headache, because I know fan power in my club holds weight. If all the fans are heralding me and all the fans are telling, not to like blow smoke up his ass and inflate his head, it's done in a way which he knows they value me and I can't let them down. And that's a nice dynamic to have when you want to like blood in young players, because that's infectious, that type of attitude. If he's bought into it, so invested into it and so much, and he's delivering, he's then going to, not saying that will happen, but he could be showing up seasoned professionals with his attitude and his application. And for a 16, 17, 18-year-old to be doing that, grown men don't like that. Their egos get in the way real quick. So he's setting a new tempo and precedent, as you say, for us, which is going to be such a key part if we can keep him fit this year. But yeah, absolutely. In terms of when he gets on the ball today, his touch, his movement is nice, and the decision making, which we spoke about as well, starting to come together. It's getting that blend of now having the technical ability, being composed, committing defenders, and then also still being able to follow the instructions to get the decisions right.
Got a super chat before I want to come home. Asim, big up Asim. He says, driving home, just wanted to pop up and big up the boys. Keep up the great work. Don't forget, Asim has started his own channel called Born and Red. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you go over and subscribe to their channel. Match going fans, Born and Red. Hopefully I'll get a link off him and I'll put it in the description for future shows. Big up yourself, drive safe. I had a smile on my face watching this kid play, Errol. The touch, the low sense of gravity, we know.
Yeah.
We know how he operates. We know how he plays. The comparisons with Salah, Messi, wherever. I'm not talking about levels. I'm talking about stylistically. Yeah. I think he's more Messi than Salah, if you know where I'm coming from. He likes to get that ball on a half turn. Before people start saying Grizz compared him to Messi, I'm not. I'm talking about just stylistically on his level, which is miles away from Messi yet. But stylistically, he's there. He loves to cut in. And you know what? The big thing you said is decision making. Errol, for a kid, his decision making so mature and ahead of his time. He sees things so early and so nicely, and is decisive in what he wants to do with it. And that always helps, especially when you're playing up against people that are bigger than you, faster than you, stronger than you, right? What have you got to be? You've got to be quicker than in the head.
In the head, yeah, 100%.
Otherwise, you're going to get beat up.
Yeah, they're going to leave it on you.
They're going to beat you up, man. They're going to beat you up. So you got to be quicker. And every time the ball was played to him, and we're going to come on to the guy that was playing the balls into him, a certain young James Milner, Elliot almost knew 2-3 moves ahead of how this is going to pan out. I love that shit about him.
Well, he looks drilled even in the little preseason clips we've seen of him. He looked so sharp, and he's got that bit between his teeth at the minute to really force. And can you imagine though? You was that close last season, and you worked really hard to get into, and you had such a huge setback, and you thought that could have been my breakout season. I could be one of the established. If Harvey Elliott is now the established midfielder in our midfield today, we're not, the fan base isn't having all these mad jarring conversations about getting another midfielder in because he's the reason that we are is because we've seen only a small sample size of what he's capable of doing. And that's why I think from his perspective to now be like, right, this is my chance. I am fit. I know my body's back to where it needs to be. I just need to do the other things. And don't forget, just because you've been out injured for Liverpool Football Club does not mean you've still not been training. And mentally, you've been getting shown tapes, highlights, previous tapes of your own game, things that you need to work on, the movements of our midfield and how it functions week in, week out anyway. You've still been learning on a massive learning curve for the last 12 months. And all that information that you've taken in is now being digested, and you get the chance to play your game. There's no pressure right now. Go play your game, because as you say, Grizz, when you get the ball, if you don't want to get beat up by these 6 foot whatever midfielders, you've got to be 2-3 steps ahead of them when you're receiving the ball. You've got to know what you want to do with the ball as soon as it comes in your first touch, and it's got to be spot on. And that's what I think is the most exciting prospect in him at the minute, because that is only going to build over time. As the season goes on, fitness providing, he is going to be a phenomenon for us this season.
I really hope so. And the indications are there that he's going to give Jurgen Klopp a headache. And that's all we can ask at this age. Yeah. At this stage of his career, all we want is for Jurgen Klopp. Listen to what I'm saying. Jurgen Klopp, one of the greatest managers, and Liverpool, one of the greatest team, to have a headache. Because that means he's balling. Because if Jurgen Klopp is thinking, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, and Naby, I'm going to keep rotating 3 out of them 4. No. Here's a young Harvey Elliott that is pushing, and it's a great place to be. He started off. We're going to get to the first goal. I wanted to see a nice early goal, and we get that.
And that's big for us as well this season, because there wasn't a lot of early goals towards the back end of last season. So that's one nice little added element that, yeah, hopefully the fast starts and the tempo and the intensity there carrying on now for the rest of pre-season. We've set the tempo.
And another, what I liked about the goal is, Errol, what did we discuss about the last few shows that we've done? One of the ways we're going to improve is goals from midfield, arriving in the box, cutbacks, people taking shots. Oh, look what happens. 16th minute, 12th minute, I beg your pardon. A ball from Milner. Harvey Elliott doesn't just drill it across.
Nice dummy from Matip as well. What's Matip doing at the edge of the box? But nice dummy.
We know what he's doing. That's Joe Matip for you. That's Joe Matip. We know he's brave like that. So that's why when you talk about Matip starting and against low blocks, and I totally get where you're coming from, and I'm with you. Matip knows what the deal is. Matip dummies it to Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott doesn't smash it across. He plays it right into the path of Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson gets cussed for this first time whip that he does all the time. I get it. He needs to choose when to do it, when not to do it. In fact, now that we got Darwin Nunez, that might become a weapon. Actually. But this time it's an identical goal that he scored against Brighton. Do you remember when we took a 2-0 lead and then we came back to draw? Exactly same goal. Henderson on the end of it. Assist for Elliott. Henderson gets on a goal, on a goal scoring sheet. We're good to go. As you said, we needed that first open goal. I love seeing Liverpool score. I was happy for them.
Yeah, no, mate, that's the type of link-up play last season, early part of it, and we always go back to it because this is when we've seen Harvey play. It feels like such a long time ago, but that was when he was playing the most consistent football for us. And I said it to you when we had the chat after one of the Arsenal games. It might have been one of the semi-finals, and we knew he was coming back. Where does he play? Does he come straight back into? And I said, Grizz, calmer. Just let him come in, let him have the one game, and then let him sit off for let Klopp bring him back out as if he's a new signing in the transfer. Let's roll him back out to show that he's fit and he's available, but just put him back and keep him now for pre-season, because there's no point setting him back a couple of months as we're coming towards the end of the season and then him not being ready to start pre-season, and then he comes back on a late pre-season and then he's behind where he needs to be to actually fight his way into the starting 11. I think, I'm not saying I knew it, but in my head, it just made sense to me. Why we're not going to over push this kid. Don't get me wrong, if he's your 25-year-old man in his prime, when he's fit, you bring him back. But it's Harvey Elliott. He's a young kid. He's the protege. He's the next heir to the throne of this thing from a central midfield perspective. So I'm glad that we haven't, because we're now going to see the fruits of that labour and that patience. And I think that's sometimes what we as fans struggle with the most, having that patience. We want that instant gratification. We want that instant hit. Like I've just said, I want early goals. That's that instant hit. When you're in watching the match, you can sit comfortably, because Liverpool play games that are such high level and high stakes. If we're leaving it to the last 20, 30 minutes, we feel nervous. We want those nerves to go. We just want to be able to chill and relax. But I think you've said it before, that right-hand side for me, when we've seen him early part of last season, it works so well. The movement, the interplay, the triangles. And again, James Milner played a little bit of a part of that as well last season. We have got such fluidity on that side of the pitch. It doesn't really matter whether it's Henderson over there, whether it's Salah, whether it's Trent, whether it's Milner, whether it's Harvey. They all seem to get the roles. They all seem to interchange. And not all seem to cover, but there is always that one person that is prepared to drop in and do that cover work as well when Trent progresses up the field. So they've learned that over time, and that is probably one of our strongest threats. I do think you're right when you say Jordan Henderson getting that cross in. My only reservation about playing Harvey too advanced on the right-hand side is when the balls get whipped in from the other side, him and the back post is a very difficult target to pick out. Unless it beats the defender and it kind of falls to him at his feet, he's not going to ever really be an aerial presence. I think it's safe to say.
That actually happened. It did happen. But before that happened, I know you talked about and you spoke about sort of people willing to drop in and cover and everything. And there's no better example that I can remember in my lifetime as a Liverpool fan. Someone more perfect for that, what you've described, than James Milner. Errol, today, Pre-season friendly, humid as fuck. People sweating, panting for air.
He loves it.
You know what I mean? He loved it, Errol. He played right wing like a winger. Not only as a winger, he was overlapping 1 second. Then he was inverted and playing like prime Cancelo and Trent.
Do you remember
he was
that game?
Doing everything.
Do you remember that game we played City, and it was the 3-2 where Coutinho pops up with the winner at the end? Yeah, they brought Milner on, so I'm not sure if he was like 2-0 up and then he got the first goal. But
he
then
changed the game for them.
He changed it. It was like that again. He rolled back the years to that day, bro, in terms of getting there, overlapping, putting the balls in, and you can say what you want, but when you've got a servant like that, still a physical peak condition that pushes other people on that are in their prime, how can that not be good for top athletes?
Look, all I gotta say, right, in these kind of situations, I am not saying James Milner is a nailed-on cert and he should be part of the 11 and this is the way forward. Of course not. But this is why Jurgen Klopp insisted on extending his contract, doing what he can to make sure he's around this club, around this squad of players, around these youngsters. Each one of them youngsters sat on the bench, Errol, would have thought, whoa. Mabaya, for example, and Mbaya, the right back, he must have thought, yeah, Gomez injured, Trent's going to play one half. I got one half locked. Nah. Klopp threw James Milner and said, watch this. This is how you operate. Yeah, Mabaya, you had a bit of a shaky game against Man United. Overall, you done very well, but you just a couple of times where, you know, you was unsure, which is fine. But check this guy out. He's twice your age.
More, maybe.
Yeah, more. Yeah, let's just say twice your age.
Twice and one, twice and two.
Yeah. Let's just say he's twice your age. Watch him operate. Watch the efficiency. Watch the teamwork. Watch the intelligence. Watch the effort from this man. He's a shining example every time. That's why these things you can't put a value on. Everyone. When people say, "What does Milner bring?" You can't put sometimes you can't put a value on the things he does, man. And you know, Elliot will learn off him. And you're right. You know, Elliot picks up these things. Ox would have been given it because look, we're going to come into Ox, but even the older people or the more experienced people would have said, you know what, this guy is still putting the effort. Why can't we put in the effort? We got to do
it. Sticks it on you. You can't come to Liverpool training ground. Yeah, you can't come half-arsed. That can't run. You can't like. It's like you being a millionaire and next man being a millionaire that's a little bit older, sugar daddy millionaire, and him running game and getting all the girls. That can't run. You've got to show what you've got in your pocket as well, and you've got to put it in and get the bottles too.
100%. 100%. You ain't getting a free ride here, man. Come on, man. Play your part of it. Get out of the club. Yeah, man. What are you doing? You ain't getting a ride home. You ain't coming home with us. If you ain't doing your bit, I thought he was superb. Absolutely superb. I thought Henderson was good. I liked Henderson. I'm going to come to the first person where we may agree or disagree. So Elliot played as the right-sided 8. Beautiful link-up play with Salah, Milner. It was not Salah, Ox.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of Curtis. I thought he was good, but I thought the left-hand side, Curtis and Luis Diaz, weren't proactive enough or in sync. How would you say?
No, I agree, and that's why I said to you before, the right-hand side is still our strongest asset in terms of goal threats and committing players. But what that should really enable us to do is free up space on that left-hand side.
Free up space, innit?
So if we ever do need that big switch, if we ever do need to get out of a tight space, there should be lads over there that are free, that can then commit players 1v1. They're not getting doubled up on. And you're right when you say, we're comfortable on that right-hand side and we're fluid to the ball just naturally gets guided over there. We start our patterns of play over there. The out ball for us can be that switch to the left-hand side. But as you say there, that there in the moments you get opportunities to shine. For me, they're the moments that you should be able to say, when it lands to Curtis, he should be definitely picking his pass, getting his head up, because he's going to have a little bit more time on the ball. And you're right when you say it didn't really seem to to gel as quickly. And it's hard and you're only going to get 45 minutes. But you said it from the outset, bro. You've got to impress. And this is the biggest thing for me. And I might just, I'm going to say it here. There's only going to be one winner between Curtis and Harvey Elliott.
At this stage.
Do you know what I mean? At this stage, there's only going to be one winner. And I rate Curtis Jones. I've said it on plenty of channels. I've said last season in Spits and Spits, he's probably one of the 5th or 6th best young midfielders in the country, in my humble opinion, for what he can do and what he can offer. But if he doesn't see Harvey Elliott as a threat, he's doing something wrong. Because this kid will not only have more promise and potential, but he will overtake you in terms of his deliverables if you're not careful. So that's the one thing that I would say for Curtis Jones. But I think you're right when you say it is difficult, but there needs to be that little bit more. You've got to show something else. There's got to be some end product from you in that area for us, for me, to feel like you're giving Klopp an even more difficult decision.
45 minutes, I don't think he was bad. I don't think he was anonymous. There was one chance where he gets onto the end of Simicast's little pass, gets a shot off and hits Gaita, goes out for a corner. I want him to do more of that. That's decisive. That's making an impact. Do you think it was clever and smart on Klopp's part to play them both together?
That's why I was asking.
What do you think about that?
That's what I said from when I see the lineup. I don't think they can go in. If it was a league,
not in the Premier League game. No. I agree. 100%.
If it was a League Cup game, you're going to put Hendo in the 6 and you're going to try it. Depending on who your opposition is, I wouldn't go mad. I wouldn't go ballistic. We know Harvey's got enough quality to do something. There's 2 people in that midfield that are solid. It's whether they will be overrun. It's whether they will be able to be as competitive in that area, whether they will be able to be as physical to win the midfield battle. Because if they win the midfield battle, we've got no problems because we've got shotters and killers up front that will do the business. If they don't win the midfield battle, they're going to be doing a lot of running and a lot of chasing after the ball. And I just don't know if they've got that in their tanks and in their engines yet before Jordan Henderson gets swarmed and then everyone's getting on Jordan Henderson like it's his fault, but he's not got the legs around him and they're not working as close, tight as a unit to actually stop the threats as and when they're coming. I'm not convinced. For me, I'd have to see them play 5-6 games before I could say it's definitely going to ever work. At this moment in time, I would probably opt to only ever put one in, one out.
I think that probably, I think you're pretty spot on. I can't see them starting in a league game together right now. But the aim of the game is, or the aim of the season should be, one of the aims. By the end of the season, they should be playing or have played a season where we're good with it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they won't have secured their place for next season. Then the clamour for an extra midfielder will be a crescendo. Like we can't.
Yeah, they're boiling point.
We're boiling point, and it'll be justified.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're both young lads, and they're coming into Chelsea have got a young, youthful midfield, albeit obviously Kante's getting on a little bit. City I've got. Again, they're getting rid. There's a bit of an overhaul in their midfield department.
But Foden, Grealish, they're young in their prime. These 2 lads, and I say them 2 because they're our biggest threats for the league potentially. Tottenham's a bit of an anomaly for me in midfield because their setup's slightly different and they don't operate in the same sort of way. But Conte's only here for a season or 2. We know that. So
exactly, it's not long-term projects. But for me, I think you do want to be able to see that towards the back end of next season, because if we don't, it will get to boiling point. And I want to be able to believe that both of these lads can grow into the next chapter of the evolution of this midfield squad. And I'm not saying that they will, him, Harvey, Jude, whoever else comes in, there's going to be someone to sit. It's going to be the front three every week. But in terms of week in, week out, they can rotate in and become those 2 guys for us in midfield. I want Curtis Jones. If it's not going to be going forward, your decision making, I want him to be able to emulate what Gini Wijnaldum did for us. Because there's 2 parts to the game on that left-hand side. There's the composure on the ball to always be the outlet, to always be able to recycle the ball and have that.
He's got that. I think he can do that. I think he can do that with his eyes closed.
he's got that. But what it also means is the screening and the protection. That's what Gini was able to do as well. And because he's been operated as a left forward, that's not his natural game. So he switches off in those moments. And that's where he lets himself down from a defensive standpoint. His offensive standpoint has had to be tweaked. And he's not got that natural instinct of where he needs to be into time his runs and his decision making. So he's caught in limbo for me. He's got that one core element of that composure, technical ability, retaining of the ball. But it's right. Which side of the ball do you want to move it? Do you want to be the guy that moves it forward for us, or do you want to be the guy that can screen and cover? Because if you turn yourself into the guy that can screen and cover, you are going to complement Harvey Elliott and what he does going forward so well. But if you also want to be that other person that can unlock the door, you've got a lot of work to do this season.
I think you pretty much nailed it. That's exactly it. But you know, when Jurgen Klopp this week said he takes some of the blame for some of the youngsters not progressing.
Yeah.
Maybe Jurgen Klopp hasn't passed the message on and Pep Linders, or they haven't expressed what they want from him. Maybe.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, bro. If at the minute, just play your game, and he's called
your game.
Yeah.
But I can't see them saying play your game now, because we can see last season, and especially in COVID season, they tried to convert him into a Gini type midfielder. It was the COVID season that broke through. I think we got to see. You're right. I think we got to see a decision by Curtis himself, probably, into what he's going to become, what type of midfielder he's become. Because I genuinely think he can do that easy. You know that, Errol. I'm honestly, he's got, because he's different from Elliott build-wise.
He's got swagger, and he's got swagger on the ball, though. Do you know what I mean? When he does 100%. It, that's why I likened it to Gini. He's got that in his locker now.
Oh, he's got great protection of the ball. People always say, what does he do well? He's got lovely touch control on him. He protects the ball very well. He runs with the ball very well. He does these things very well. You've pointed out the weakness. His decision making isn't good. His speed of passing sometimes isn't good. I'd say his biggest weakness for me is picking up the tempo of the game and the attack.
Yeah. He can't start. He can't start. That's what I mean. The attacks can't start on the left-hand side with Curtis, but they can start on the right-hand side with Harvey, because he gets it. He's that thinking 2-3 steps ahead, where Curtis gets the ball, and Harvey is proactive, Curtis is reactive. And when you've got that works. If you're if you're going to be the left side, that's going to screen and cover and be the extra body in midfield where it's needed, and swap between the six on and off to protect the ball. That works then, because you've always got that one outlet. But if we're going to use them both as these eights that can unlock the back door, eights that can run at defenders, eights that can you provide assists and pop up with goals, there's only going to be one winner in that foot race right now for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier to convince him to do, the former and what I've just said, or if he really wants to work on it this season to get that harmony, because that could be a lovely harmony. We haven't had that for years. Do you know what? Zabi and Gerrard both being able to do identical like things through midfield. I know Zabi didn't have as much pace, but at the same time, we haven't really had that.
Do you know what it is? It's the level we're operating at, Errol. The level we're operating at, right? We can't have projects because we're fucking with City. Like, this is a good project. The way we've described it, and I don't think we're mad and we're not being deluded and we're not blowing hot air up these players' asses for no reason. They are good players. It will take time. They're fucking 19 and 21 respectively. 19 and 21. Are you mad? And we're talking about pivotal seasons in their career where they might not recover. Well, in Jones's case, at least, Elliott's got a future. Whether it's at Liverpool, whatever, we know he's going to play at a high level. But you're right, they're projects and they're fantastic potential projects. But because of the level we're operating at, we can't wait almost. The margin of error is zero. We have to keep it working. We have to keep it moving. We have to keep it working now. as opposed to a couple of seasons.
We've got to stay on our stream. Do you know what I mean? We're going. Yep. We're already a force. You've kind of got to stay in that stream to be able to stick with us. Because if you fall behind the pack, there ain't no catching back up.
That's the thing.
And again, that's a very difficult thing. And it's going to take more than just football and a natural ability to be able to continue that. You've got to have that mentality. And that the one thing I think if Curtis Jones was another, prospect from another. And I know people kind of throw this at us, not even era. If people throw this at us all the time, me personally, if he was, because he's from Liverpool, he gets that grace. But I think it's because he's from Liverpool, he's going to have that desire to work a little bit harder because he knows if he was from anywhere else in the country and he was probably playing at the level, he might have went out on loan. But this is his home, this is his city, this is his club. So while he's still in the chance of keeping up with the pack, he's got to prove it now. He can't get left behind.
Great point. I think that's a fantastic point. Mark Hinson in the super chat. Appreciate the support, bro. He goes, I love how the first batch of players played, just being patient with build up, not gung ho. Henderson wasn't just lumping the ball every chance he got. I think we need more technicians in midfield, in my opinion. More technicians, Mark? I think the opposite, Mark. I think we've got the technicians. I think we need a bit of pace and power in our midfield. I think we need more legs and energy in our midfield. That's just my opinion. I appreciate and respect your opinion, of course, and especially the super chat. But I think we need more power and pace. I think we've got all of our players are pretty much technicians, man. Okay, Henderson, you could say
Henderson Ox is the power and pace. It's his availability to be able to do that because he's so down in the pecking list now. You're not really going to draft him in for anything.
I think Ox is done from the midfield era.
Yeah.
I generally think Ox is, especially where he played today.
I feel sorry for mate. If we go back to Ox this time last season, where was he playing, Grizz? He was doing the Bobby roll.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, he was doing a Bobby like that. I feel sorry for him because he clearly loves this club. He clearly loves playing for this club. But you've been given that many different roles. You're a jack of all trades, but you're a master of none. And in another team, you'd be like a James Milner because you'd be used as a utility man wherever they need, and you'd be performing at a high level for another team. But as we keep saying, this team is competing with City. We can't have Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, a player who's supposed to be in his prime, as a project to find out. You can be James Milner. Let's be a project and let's use you as a utility player and drop you in and expect 9 out of 10 performances. It just doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. We've come to probably about the half an hour. As I said, I was really impressed. Palace, you know what we were doing, Errol? We were doing what we're the best at. How many times have me and you spoken about? We trap teams in there. We don't let them out.
Yeah.
The only out ball is to just lump it up. Or if you're elite, like a Man City or a Real Madrid, that can break that press. Otherwise, you're trapped in there. You've got to just kick it out. I thought Tsimikas was good. I thought Tsimikas was getting the crosses in, his energy, brilliant. I thought Ox was good. I kept, on the stream, I got told off a couple of times, Errol, because I thought Ox was, I kept mistaking Bobby for Ox. Now, that's a big up for Ox, though, because I thought some of those touches, that's a Bobby flick, because he lays one into Harvey Elliott. And that's where in the 38th minute it says that should probably have been 2. Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Elliott combined brilliantly in the 19-year as a big chance on his right foot.
He misses it. Yeah.
I thought that was Bobby because that was a Bobby touch. It just goes to show you that sometimes you just have a little agenda and you just don't see it. But that was Ox. Ox would look decent, Errol. And then what happens?
That's the frustrating
bang. 42nd minute. Oxlade pulled up with a muscle injury after an effort on goal. He won't be able to carry on here.
Do you know what I think with him, though, as much as we need pre-season, he's probably, there's been so many, and I don't know whether it is the sense of being black British for whatever weird reason. Our bodies just seem to break down differently in these hot climates. We had Sturridge had the issues. Welbeck's had those issues. Walcott had issues. Ox has had issues. There's been a whole crop of them in the last 10 years that It's muscle injuries. And bro, I say because I played football yesterday, Grizz, my back, and I'm still round up thinking, I'm a storage me. I'm walking around after 15, 20. It's hot as well, you know. I walk around after 15, 20 minutes going, I've got the storage in me, you know. Like I'd be a quality player, but I just can't.
Do they have to drag you out like they used to apparently have to drag out storage with painkillers? Come on, everyone, we need you. You're the star, man. We need you. Allow me, people. I've got a little strain. I can't do it today.
I can't do it. I don't know if that I'm making, you know, I'm clutching at straws, but we've seen enough of it with young black British footballers. Sometimes I don't know whether it's that preseason heat element to it, but they seemingly just pick up repetitive muscle injuries time and time again that hampers them in their career. They seem to get to a certain level and then their body gives out. And then you can get them back to being physically fit, but you never really recapture that prime football fitness that they had before the muscle injuries started fucking them over. And I think Ox is just another product of that ultimately at this point.
Probably the best product, probably the best example of that, Errol.
Yeah.
I don't know what we do with, I don't know what we do with him. Like, you know, he knew straight away, you know, he's that kind of guy that he's so experienced in these scenarios. That he knows he's gone, and he sat there.
You don't come back from it quick either. Like another person might come back after that one little tweak. Oh, that was unusual for me, but it's a back spasm, it's a muscle ache, whatever it is. Give me on a treatment table 2-3 weeks, and I'll be back, and I'm good to go again. But it's just the combination of the ones they pick up. It just takes a toll on the mileage on the clock, and it's sad because
he was playing well. Even the last season, he was making an impact, and me and Steve were talking about it yesterday or the day before. Whereas we think there could be a position for him on that right of a 3, where we play the one up front. Mm-hmm. So, for example, let's just say Mo played up front,
3 across, and you've got the
3 across, and then, there's a position for him because I think that's the only position for him, and he was doing all right in it. And then he goes and does that. That's the preseason over for him. Yeah. There's no way you're coming back from a preseason 2-3 weeks hamstring strain. That's him. And as you said, he's got slow recovery as well. There's no chance of a club coming in for him now as well, right? So if there was a small inkling of a chance, a few teams probably waiting until the last week.
Yeah, he's done it. He's done out.
This is so heartbreaking for him, for the club, for Klopp. Probably trusted him. It's one of the shit stories of the preseason so far.
It is, and that's the thing, when you can't predict your body and you don't know at any given day it could go out. That's why I said sometimes
he was available. He was available for majority of the season, Errol. Last season, he just wasn't getting selected. And then he warm climate, no one near him, nothing happening. The only second half an hour game he's playing, he pulls up. What are you supposed to do? The guy must be so distraught today.
All you think is just leave him at home because it's a little bit cooler in England. But you'd have probably done that at the AXA today because it's been boiling at the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like probably hotter. Yeah, as hot.
A little bit of heat going from cold to heat, the winter to summer sometimes, and then you spend all this time in a very mild climate, and you go to a hot preseason and try and play football at that same level of intensity. Our bodies aren't acclimatized to being able to do that, and when you're asking someone to do it season in, season out, it's going to take its toll. And you just feel for the kid because, as you say, he's getting to that point now where, in his mind, he probably thinks, if I get a good preseason under my belt, I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm going to force my way into Klopp's plans one way or another, or I've done enough to put myself in the shop window that someone comes and gives me an offer that will guarantee me the amount of football that I genuinely need at this age. And now, with that one little pull up, it's that all those options have gone out the window.
Southern Realist says, you can tell Grizz doesn't play. After the age of 30, your muscles become more brittle and rip when you try to do the things you used to. You haven't got a clue about me, have you, son? So basically, that was the down point of that first half. Apart from that, it was only positives. I thought Bobby was back to his tantalizing, in control, oozing class, and it looks like we're going to need him very much so coming to the start of the season because, you know, Oxlade's injury means now Alisson, Diego Jota, Joe Gomez are all currently sidelined with injuries. Diogo's the big one for me, Errol. Diogo's the big one because I'm gutted for the guy. I thought a lot of people are sleeping on Diogo. In the build-up to the start of the season, a lot of people are talking about Nunez and Diaz and Mo Salah, of course. Bobby may be expected to be talked about less. Jota didn't deserve to be ignored or slept on, in my opinion, because Jota's, for me, has got that inevitability about him. We spoke about it last night as well. And I would have thought this season he would have been really fired up. He gets the injury after the Nations League bullshit. And then yesterday after training, he pulls up again. It looks like that's his preseason over as well. Gutted for him, gutted for us. We need as many options as we need as many options as we can, especially because we've got this fucking doubt. And we have to admit it. Sadio Mane's goals and output will be missed. Diaz's output isn't there, even though he's a baller. And Nunez is young, he's fresh. We need Diego Jota to step up with Mo to get those goals.
And not even only
big blow.
Yeah, it is a massive blow at this point in before your season even started. You're off to a false start with you're forward. For me, it's more a case of we want someone to push Nunez on for everything that Bobby brings. He's not getting selected in that front line for his goals and his output. He's getting brought in for everything else that he does. So that element of it doesn't necessarily. If you could see that Diaz is firing the last couple of weeks of training, you can see Salah's firing. You think, yeah, we can throw Bobby on there because he's going to link all of that together and it's going to work.
Yep.
Either winger is going to give us goals. You don't bring Bobby on for that. You need someone that's out and out in front of goal, going to score a goal, as you said, that inevitability about him. And Jota's that guy, which means that Nunez, we was talking about it on the show the other day, can you learn to be clinical? Well, Nunez is going to have to learn to be clinical because that's one element that Jota's got. He's got that down. More often than not, you back Jota in those box in the opportunities that fall in the box.
His touch can be Lukaku-esque. His vision can be dead like Milan Barros. All of that. He can be having one of those games where you fucking think, what is this, man? This is some Sunday league bullshit with watching Diego Jota play. But
pops up.
Bang.
Pops your uncle jolly on the spot. Jota the shotter. Like he does that. And like we've seen it so many times last season. But that he does, but that goal against Everton, mate, where he just takes it in between his legs, twists and turns him.
Bergkamp-esque.
Like he's got that in him as well. So they're the elements of Jota that we want to see more of course. But those are the reasons why I say someone like that pushes Nunez on. Nunez, we haven't got a natural. I still don't think we've got a natural. Obviously, we've got Darwin Nunez now, so hopefully he is the natural goal scorer. But to show him what it is to be a natural goal scorer, we've not got a mentor in the squad. We sat there and talked about Harvey Elliott and learning from certain people. He's going to learn from James Milner. Everything about what it is to have that longevity as an Englishman in the Premier League. Follow my footsteps. Treat your body like a temple. Work really hard.
Can't go wrong.
Don't be in the newspapers every other week. No scandals. You can't go wrong. There are so many things that you will pick up and learn from having him around. Likewise, Thiago there for Curtis Jones, ball retention technician, or Robbo Simicast, Calvin Ramsey's going to learn off Trent. There's so many examples of not doppelganger, but there's your
mentor.
There's the shoes you're going to go and fill eventually.
Apprentice. Is this like the apprentice?
You get me? Like you've got that in most areas of Liverpool's squad, which is what was so strong in terms of the options we had last year. You could trade one in, trade one out, and the level of performance wouldn't drop significantly. Wouldn't drop by more than 10 to 15% on any given day. Up front, without Jota and his goals and his instinct in front of goal, Diaz doesn't have someone pushing him on right now, and he's going to have to find an extra gear. So it's the knock-on effect that it has for the wider squad, not just the individual, which is what has got me a little bit more worried and a little bit more anxious over the next couple of weeks.
Do you know what? Not only that, Errol, we're going to come and talk about the second half and the pressure. I guess we go into it So what happens? A whole heap of changes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trent comes on. The young goalkeeper. People, I forgot his first name. Is it? Oh man, people tell me the goalkeeper's first name because I want to speak on him.
It wasn't
Trent. I can't remember.
No,
Harley.
Harvey. Harvey? Is it
Harvey
Harvey?
Davis. It was
Yeah,
Harvey Davis.
Yeah,
Harvey Davis. Hold that name. Hold that thought. Trent comes on. Van den Berg. I said last night, I think Gomez might not make it, and I said Van den Berg will get minutes because of Gomez not coming on. He comes on, plays alongside Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago Keita, Salah. Nunez and Carvalho has a slight change in position. Carvalho played as in the Curtis position in the game before when he has Diaz out right left. This time, Carvalho was the one out left, and Thiago was the one who played in the inverted eight. When you saw that team, what did you want to see from it? I wanted to see. Last night, I changed my mind at the last minute. It was supposed to be a Salah goal, which if I stuck to it, I would have been good because Salah scored straight away. But I ended up saying, I want a Nunez goal, man, just to get out of the way. I don't give a shit in the overall grand scheme of things, but just for him, I want to see a goal. What did you want to see?
The same. I wanted to be honest. I wanted to see him and Carvalho. I know what you putting out those lads. Apart from the goalkeeper, you put those lads out. I know what's going to happen. I know you can predict the patterns of play. You can predict the tempo. You can predict the intensity from those individuals when they play as a team. Not a problem. This is where now you're bedding in these new players and what added elements do they bring? What is it that they can show that we've been missing that raises your own eyebrows and makes you kind of get excited? It's never going to be one of those games that gets you, bums off seats and you're up there cheering and you're bouncing off the walls. But what am I going to be going back for to see those clips going back and back to say, how did he get out of that tight space? Or how did he just skill and rip to? This is where you kind of can show what you're capable of doing. It's not about output in these games. It's about performance. It's about having the right level of attitude and application in the game. It's hard to say when you're going to see Salah that you can't expect him to score. Whenever Mo Salah's on the pitch, I'm expecting him to do something where he's going to score and create an opportunity. But what I did find interesting was his willingness to try and get that link up with Nunez. I thought that was interesting because for me, the sooner they start to try and get that link up, the easier it will be as the weeks go on. If they leave it and think that they're both going to play in their own little lane, Salah's going to play and come in and cut in, it won't work. If they start to accept each other's presence on the pitch and realize each other's strengths and play to them, we could have some serious firepower this season.
Drago sends in a super chat. He says, really impressed by Van den Berg performance today. In my opinion, his ceiling is miles ahead of the other two. Need a Premier League loan next. If you're talking about the other two, I'm assuming it's Reece Williams and Phillips. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, definitely Reece Williams. Phillips didn't put a foot wrong again today. Phillips and that tackle at the end took out the player, the ball, his soul. And he cleaned him up nicely, man. But I totally agree with you. Van den Berg, his composure, his strength, playing alongside
bulked up a little bit as well.
Definitely, Errol, definitely. I see that because there was a tussle on the far side. Someone tell me which striker it was, but he didn't let him outmuscle him. He stood up firm. He firmed it up. People are saying he's firmed up. But yeah, El Drago, I can't agree with you more. I think Van den Berg was brilliant as well. I thought he didn't put a foot wrong. Mo Salah gets his goal. Poor keeping, but the build-up play between him and Trent, people have spoken about it earlier. Speak on the Trent, Salah understanding. It's like they've not been away. It's just going to get better and better in it. These guys, you got to remember, these guys, God willing, are going to be playing for another 3-4 years. And they've already been playing for another last 5 years they've been playing together. It's almost telepathic now, right, Errol? And it's still when we see it, we go, oh, because it's still beautiful to see some of the interplay between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the likes of Trent, his development gets underrated a lot still to this day. I think and I've come to the acceptance that it's because we take it for granted.
Granted.
We take for granted what that kid is able to do with the ball. Like we just take for granted, and the fact that he's got a level of authority in this team now that he's seen as one of the senior heads, even if his age doesn't dictate it. His caps, his appearances, the assists, his presence on the pitch, his stature as a scouse person as well.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. He's got a strut. He struts around now. It's a good strut.
Yeah. But that is why the likes of Salah respect him. And Salah now is like, all right, cool. Like when it's in your space and when the ball's going over to I will leave you to do it because I know you're going to put it on a super to me. I've got no doubts. I don't need to be overextending myself to go and chase down balls and go into areas that I don't need. I can go and pick up better spaces, better pockets of spaces, lose a man because I know you will still manage to get the ball to me. Their link-up play between them is phenomenal. That I think why we've got Salah as well. I know we had but I know there was conversations last year, and I know Gareth Southgate tried to put him in midfield. Trent's not going into midfield. Trent's a right back. He will stay a right back because that link-up play is you can't buy it in the market. You can't buy another right back out there right now that can provide you what Trent Alexander-Arnold does. And I know people say you could buy Reece, but Reece James is another one. He's a local lad. He ain't going nowhere. No. You're not buying him.
Simple. Real Madrid want him. Barcelona, look, they can all try. He is not going anywhere, just like Trent's not going anywhere as well.
Exactly.
You know, you can say you can buy the likes of Cancelo, you know, but you can't buy these kind of.
Buy Max Aarons. You could buy Max Aarons.
Yep, 100%. You could go and do people are letting us know that Lewandowski to Barca is done. Yeah, good luck to them. They don't know what they're trying to do over there and how they're doing it.
In it, they're on some kind of next day payment type bullshit.
I don't know how they're doing it and what they're doing. Yeah, look, Salah makes it 2, as I said, and then he goes on a run. There's a ball from Fabinho out to Salah. Salah does brilliantly to keep it in, skins the defender. This is the beauty of Salah when he's on his game level. He not only they know he's going to cut in like for the goal, but they know he can go on the outside as well. He skins him on the outside, lays it nicely for Nunez. Nunez gets the shot on target. The keeper makes a routine save. That's where we start talking about Nunez, the conversations from non-Liverpool fans and possibly certain sections of Liverpool fans starts about Antonio Nunez. My God, we shouldn't even be speaking about Antonio Nunez. For me, one of the worst players to play for Liverpool, but that's another story. Darwin Nunez. Give your opinion on the guy, on the situation. We have to talk about it because people want to talk on it. So let's give it 5 minutes.
The build-up what you said is what we want to see more of, though.
Yes.
More going on the outside and getting those cutbacks. For me, it's the movement that we need to be assessing right now from Darwin Nunez, because as a player, you're going to go to a new club, and yet you'll have watched Liverpool play before. You'll have played against Liverpool. You'll have seen how quick, how powerful, how strong, how good they are on their day. But if you don't play with these lads, as we're just saying, that Trent and Mo have played with you for 5 years and now it's telepathic. They've had a week playing with each other. It's not going to be telepathic. But if you're a good level quality footballer, your reading of the game and your movement and the runs that you make towards goal will be there. I would be more concerned if Darwin Nunez wasn't at the edge of the box or running onto the cutback when he's seeing Mo's movements there. Second, you see Mo going on the outside, you know he's not trying to shoot. You know it. We know it. Liverpool fans
keep talking, bro. Keep talking. You're preaching.
If Mo goes on the outside, he ain't trying to score. Mo's looking to set somebody up. So if
you've got to read it.
Yeah, if you're sat on your heels and you're not alive to the opportunity, that's when I'd be like, oh, he's a little bit off the pace. He's not 100%. I'd be and ahhing. Yeah, obviously, I want the ball to ripple the back of the net and I want you to get your goal. For you, that'd be great. But for me, right now where you're at, until you've played, and you say it, about instruments. Until you've done 10,000 hours playing an instrument or doing anything, you're not an expert, you're not a professional, you're a rookie, you're learning your trade. He might have done his 10,000 hours as a footballer, but he's not done his 2,000 hours, 500 hours, X amount of minutes as a Liverpool player. And we know that we've had in the past examples where players have taken. The only thing is you can't afford that courtesy to strikers, because strikers live off the, if you're scoring goals, you're confident. If you're not scoring goals, you're going to go within yourself a little bit, and you've got to have a certain level of mental resilience to dig yourself out of a bit of a hole by going on a barren run. But we've been able to afford players the time. The only thing we've probably not got on our side at the minute is with Jota being injured, that threat through the middle has gone. So we do need you to pick up the pace. But the only way you're going to pick up the pace is continuing doing what you're doing and keep making the intelligent runs, the good movement, and keep being a handful for defenders. Because if he made a run. So, and again, I'll take it back even further. So Salah's goal, if you watch it back on the replay, when Salah cuts in, Darwin knows he's going to shoot. So Darwin makes a diagonal run away from goal that takes the defender with him, that gives Salah the space in front of the goal so he can whip the shot. Now, Salah doesn't execute the shot the best, and the keeper makes a mess of it anyway. But that, to me, was a little bit of movement that showed, all right, you know what to do when Salah's going to go in on the inside and shoot, and you know what to do when Salah's going to go on the outside. You're going to be fine, lad, because we're going to gift you the ball enough times that out of 100 chances that ball falls to your feet, you're going to score at least 20 goals.
People, Klopp sipping Arsenal's tears, what a name. Prime Torres would feast in this team. Don't bet started on Prime Suarez. People forget, I don't, because I'm an old boy. Go check out Torres' first preseason with us. Torres was not a lot of work in preseason, yet he went on and scored 24 goals that season, or 27 goals, I can't remember now. Same with Suarez. People were talking about Suarez, what a flop in his first season. Do you remember, guys? He was hitting the post, missing chances, and then suddenly, boom.
You just knew he was a player. You just knew he was a player, though. You just knew it.
This guy is younger than both of them. Okay, he might be Torres' age at the time. But you got to remember, he's coming into a team, Errol, and he's coming into a team that has had the same attack, same way of attacking for 5 to 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. And pretty elite level of fucking attacking as well. We ain't no 40, 50 goals a season team. Motherfuckers, we are one of those teams that score 70, 80, 90 goals. So we've got a way of attacking that is pretty unique to us and the way we operate. And the forwards have been the same. How many times have we spoke about the same front three for the last 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
I was doing the watch along, Errol, and I wasn't on Twitter. You know that place, Twitter? So when I watched the game, I was interacting with people and I was like, you know what? This is sick, man. He's getting into play. Just like you were saying, I was watching his runs. The instinct was there.
Yeah.
You know, the touch is not quite there yet, but I was thinking, no, that's minor. He's had one full training session, 15, 20 minutes in the first game and 30, 40 minutes, 35 minutes in the second game. He's not even had a full hour playing for this team with his new mates, with a different attack, both halves. This time he was playing with Salah and Carvalho. Last time he was playing with Diaz and I can't even remember who it was. Who's the other winger? It might have been Oxlade, maybe.
No, he's playing with Salah on Monday as well.
Was it Salah?
Yeah.
But there was one other player they had. Basically, it was a different attack. The point of the
Jones, wasn't it? It was Jones.
I think it might have been Elliott. No, it wasn't Elliott.
It was Jones, wasn't it? Oh no, Jones played in that middle part.
Yeah,
he played that many. He played 32 players, man.
Tom Hill.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I would have never got that.
So he was with Tom Hill and Salah in the first game. Yeah, guys, stop reading tweets. Stop reading tweets, man. Stay on social media. Watch the guy play. As hard as it is, or read tweets with massive smiles on your faces and laugh and giggle and bookmark. Because all these people that are dedicating threads to this guy are going to be so
pissed. Well, the way I look at it, the way I deep it, yeah. Lukaku didn't get 10 goals in the Premier League last season. Chelsea fans can't say shit. Rashford didn't get 10 goals in the Premier League last season. Man U fans can't say shit.
Martial has had 7 seasons.
Hasn't got like
can't even get nothing. He's
Jesus' best season for Man City. He only ever got 15 goals. They can't say shit. Alexander Lacazette didn't even get more. I don't even think he got 7 goals last season. You can't say shit, bro. None of these fans.
Why are you talking? Why are they talking?
I just don't. The thing I do, that does. I don't let it get to me, but it's why I don't let Liverpool fans bite. Don't bite. It's when they bite, they then project those trolling moments to the wider fan base. Don't bite. Don't let it get into your heads at all. These are salty fans that are saying this shit because they've seen duds lead the line for their football club for the last 2 to 3 seasons. They haven't had hitters and goal scorers that have got double figures and 20 goals a season in all comps. They haven't had it.
It was mad. I watched the game. I stayed off Twitter. I watched the game, interacted with people, chatting away to people. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that was a nice 30, 40 minutes from Darwin. It's going to get better. I liked that. It was better from the first performance, which was on the back of fucking him not even completing training. He didn't complete training, remember? And he's making runs. Salah was looking for him, getting better and better. I went on Twitter and it was like, what's happened here? It was like a bombshell. Like Darwin Nunez and people talking about calling him, what are they calling him? Timo Nunez.
Yeah.
All kind of bullshit. Paul, I think.
Darwin Nunez.
Yeah, Darwin Nunez. Grizz, what do you think of Darwin Nunez so far? Now, Paul, I don't know who you support. If you support Liverpool, that's pathetic. Even if you've contributed to my channel, that's pathetic if you're a Liverpool fan. If you're not, ha ha ha. Thanks for the super chat. Banter. Send another super chat in about 3-4 months and we talk again, bro. But if you're a Liverpool fan, that's pathetic, bro. Darwin Nunez will come good. Darwin Nunez has got the hunger, the desire. People are talking about his Twitter post or his tweet. He said something. What does it mean?
Yeah, Salentia or something like that, or resilience or something.
Can people tell us what it means first before we comment on it? I haven't seen it.
And do you know what though? The other thing that makes me think it as well. There haven't been that many South American players that top teams have put money on that haven't been ballers. They come and they just cut from a different breed. They just are. Like, they come to Europe and they absolutely rip it up. So I think if he can kind of follow suit with some of the other South Americans that have been here before that have done well, I think he's going to be fine, mate. I'm just excited to see him. Like,
you're spot on. You're spot on. People are not ready for this guy's resilience. People are not ready. People think he's going to be a lightweight like Lukaku. I'm sorry, Lukaku's a lightweight. He came with all the bravado, the chat, the talk. He couldn't handle it. Tuchel come out today and spoke about if he was ready to fight and if he was ready to battle, I would have backed him. He wasn't ready. Gone. Martial, 7 seasons, gone, not cemented his place at a shit Man United team. Hold on. Not a successful Man United team. We can say, Errol, you know what, Martial didn't get that team, but you know what? They won 4 leagues in a row. They won a FA Cup. Look, they didn't win shit. And he still couldn't cement his place. Rashford, brilliant off the pitch work, an ambassador off the pitch. What's he done on the pitch? What's Rashford done on the pitch? Why are these guys? Lacazette. Yeah, all right. Some of your celebrations are sick. With Aubameyang. No, but you are. You're known as Aubameyang's side chick. That's what you do in celebrations. Oba calls you to celebrate. That's what you're good for. That's what you've been good for.
You assist the celebration, not
you assist the celebration, not the goal. That's what you do. Why are all these clubs talking? This guy hasn't even stepped on a pitch for a full game with a full team, and you lot are making carry on.
But it makes it better. It makes it better for me because it's just like you know when you're cooking Sunday dinner and you've done it right, you've marinated it, everything's going well, and you're just gonna leave it on a slow roast. And you know what's gonna, but you know when you eat that,
That's gonna taste so good. And you know what? We're just gonna be showing other people. Yeah, you want some? You want some? Nah, you can't have some.
These man are sending us rate my play pictures of all
Oh,
this
shit, man. Oh shit.
We're going gastro gourmet style. You don't get it, bro. We're not the same. We are not the same.
We're not the same. Big up Team Copper. She says, imagine judging. I don't even know who that is. It might be Cal. It might be, let me know who it is. It might be Matt. Whoever it is, big up yourselves. Imagine judging Nunez of preseason. Exactly. Imagine. This is premature ejaculation. They've ejaculated already. Why are you doing this? You look. What are you doing? You've blown already. Let the guy show himself, and you're not gonna look like dickheads. But look, Nunez, you know, the butt of jokes from other people's clubs, and it's sad to see certain section of Liverpool fan bases talking him down as well. That's like, you know, there's no need for that, man.
They're not strong mentally, though. They're not that, and that's the difference. You've got to understand there's a pecking order. Shit rolls downhill. The other fan bases can't throw us when we're above them.
But look. For example, look.
You shouldn't throw stones at glass houses. Like
Umzi says, "Look, Grizz, you guys can't handle it. We talk because all fans talk. Like you guys won't talk if Haaland don't score in the first 5 games. What's the mistake? What's the factual part that you've said there? If he doesn't score in the first 5 games,
5 games, that means something.
This guy hasn't played a meaningful game yet.
He hasn't got 90 minutes under his belt.
Forget 90 minutes. He hasn't played a full hour. It's 56 minutes or something. Are you not sick? Are you not proper funny? Like, you're funny people, whoever's doing this shit. You know what I mean? Have a word with yourselves. We love banter, man. I give so I can take. I love it. Slander me for, I don't know, Ox. You know, slander me for Naby Keita being 55 million. What's he done? Yeah, okay. You've got a case. Back in the day, slander me for Lovren. Yeah, we used to have to take it for Lovren. We used to have to take it for Karius. We had to take it for all these, man. Yeah, we had to. We spent years and years taking it. But how are you giving it for this team, for these set of players? I don't know. You're clutching at straws. It's making you look desperate. I get it. We ain't going nowhere. That's the problem. Because they're spending so much money and revamping their squads and spending a hell of money. They're trying to put pressure on us so we go somewhere. We fall. We ain't built like that. We ain't going nowhere.
Ali A makes a brilliant point in the chat. I don't know if you see that, but it says there, they said Salah was a 1-season wonder, Grizz.
They did. 100%. Even Mane. Every player, every signing, they said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, this ain't working for them. Diego Jota, man, the most recent example. Forget everything else. Diego Jota, what? Wolves? Man came and smashed 20 goals in his first. He smashed 20 goals in his first season. Injury ravaged first season.
Yeah. Led
our attack in the second season when Mans were away from AFCON.
You know what as well? I'm excited to see Darwin Nunez for us as well, because since Klopp's been here, we haven't had this type of striker, and you've seen what he's done with players that aren't typically out and out strikers, and the level of output he's managed to drill into their game. If your natural skill set is finding the back of the net, how many goals is this guy eventually going to be able to toss up for us?
Look at this. He's played 2 games. I'm not even going to respond to you. Nunez will definitely shut up. Haters. Umzi replies, he says he's played 2 games. He hasn't, so I'm not even going to answer the rest. Paul sends in a super chat, says, Grizz, I respect you, but I just hate Liverpool. That's fine, man. That's absolutely fine. Who do you support, by the way, Paul? Let us know so we know to hate your team back. Not really.
I think he's a Man U fan, you know. I've got a feeling he's a Man
U fan. Let us know, Paul. You don't need to send a super chat. Let us know who you support, because, you know what I mean, there's probably a chance we hate you. But listen, people, then the kids came on. Nothing to say for them. I do want to speak about the goalkeeper, though. This goalkeeper, I don't know nothing about this goalkeeper. Harvey Davis. He gave me Kelleher vibes when I went to see Kelleher the first time, Errol. I went to see him, MK Dons, in a League Cup game on a wet Wednesday afternoon, evening. We were playing a scratch squad team, whatever. this keeper stood out to me, Kelleher. This was about 3 years ago, something like that. And I said, this guy's going to be a keeper for us. And lo and behold, Kelleher is my favorite number 2 in world football. This guy gave me such nice, good vibes, man. I don't know if you know anything about him. People, let us know. I'll tell you what, shout out Nani who's in the chat. Yes, the young Alison Grizz said to you during the watch along. This brother Nani was telling me about this keeper. I didn't know who it was. His passing, Errol, was so cool and crisp. And his claiming of the ball, he didn't have much to do in terms of saves. But you know when...
commanding his box, anti-De Gea.
Errol, you know, that's exactly it, Errol. For me, the modern day keeper has to exude confidence and make it spread amongst the rest of your team, and calmness. This guy was calmness personified. I don't know if you managed to notice it or see him. I loved it.
I think from more than anything else, what I've noticed, again, as you said about Kelleher and the resemblance there, is we've said it time and time again, whether you're number one, number 2, number 3, you play the same way as number 1. You play in the mold how we look to play. And unfortunately, Adrian isn't of that mold. He has shot-stopping abilities. He has his strengths that don't make him elite, but they're his strengths. But you don't have that trust, and he doesn't give that calmness. He's a bit erratic as well. These other lads, these young lads, they don't get on. Like, look at the crowd. Big turnout today. Big crowd. You could have got a little bit nervous. You could have been a shrinking violet. Man played his game, and that to me is impressive for a young keeper as well. That's impressive because typically keepers, they find it hard to break into the first team. They do need loans out. They do need to play games with other teams. They do come back. They're in out. But it's when they get to a certain age that they then want to start pinning down themselves as a potential number 1 for the club, and to kind of have that level of confidence and to play with that confidence to be able to play out from the back. It just shows that is going to be the future, because once you've learned that model, you won't revert. That'll just be your game for the next
your game.
Years.
And do you know what's impressive, Errol? All the youngsters look like that. They're all playing the same way, as you said. You know, the worst one, bless him, is Adrian. You know what I mean? Who we may need now. But the others look fantastic. Last super chat before we wrap up, people in the chat. He says, Drago says, people forget that new players in Klopp's system need time to adapt. Fabinho, Robbo, Diaz is the exception. Jota's the exception.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, people forget that, bro. People forget that, especially a young player. He's 22. He's raw. This geezer's gonna bully certain centre backs, man. This guy's gonna bang goals, and we're gonna love it. I'm telling you, he's gonna become a cult hero. I hope he becomes a legend, but cult hero, definitely.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh, Anfield's gonna love him, Errol. Anfield's gonna love him. You know, he's got that swagger about him. He's tall, that Latin look about him. Come on,
he's smart. Man was on his Instagram the other day.
He's going to be smoking very, very soon, and these defenders are going to feel him, because he left a few tackles on Anderson, the Palace, who are great, and Anderson got him back, but it didn't hinder him. He kept going again and again and again. He's got that dog in him, man. He's South American, tenacious. Come on, this guy's from the school of Suarez, people. He's from the school of Suarez, and you're doubting him already.
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't help himself. I like that tweet. I like that social media post, you know. I'm not anti it. I think he's good. I think he couldn't help himself. I think he's like, watch what? Keep talking, in it. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think that shows.
You turn that negativity, you store it.
He's not a shrinking violet, Errol. He didn't want to just ignore it and talk about it. And he said, resilience, or whatever that means. We know it. Yeah, we know it means relax. Relax. My time will come. Paul comes back and says, I'm a Man United fan, but I am deluded. If it was not because Pep, Liverpool would have won 3 Premier Leagues. Listen, I didn't say that. You said it yourself. You're deluded, man. I didn't want to tell you.
Talk about he spit.
Brother, that's probably your best super chat of the day, man. Thank you very much for that. You know what I mean? But listen, people, this has been a post-match reaction to all things Liverpool and Palace. We won 2-0 goals from Henderson and Salah. few injuries, hopefully not too serious, bit of a damp squib, but we ended up talking on a high, even though Nunez got slandered from opposition fans. Hopefully me and Errol broke it down to you. If anyone tries to talking to you, then just remember some of the points we made to throw back in their face. It ain't deep, man. Trust me, these lot are just laugh. Every time they talk, laugh, because they're laughing. They're trying to, it's through fear. They're trying to banter you through fear, really. It's not genuine banter. They haven't got anything to work with, really. It's not genuine. It's fake. It's pure fake, what they're trying to do. But listen, hope you people have enjoyed the stream. Please like the stream on your way out. It helps with the algorithms. Errol, we're going to speak soon, but Liverpool are going to back home. They're going to come back home now, aren't they? And then they go to Austria next week. Our next game is next Thursday. I'm going to try to get Errol. Errol's a busy man these days. I'm going to try to get Errol in and around the game. Hopefully we give you a breakdown and lowdown on all things Austria now, where we play Red Bull Salzburg and Leipzig in the next 2 games. People, stay safe. Me and Errol are out of here. Take care of yourselves.